Hello Markham Gardens family, Daniel Markham here with the Markham Gardens. Hey, come along with me today, guys. Today I'm going to be doing a few different projects around the property. We're going to be feeding the chickens today, taking a little bit of a view of them and what's going on with them. We're also going to be checking on the peppers, guys. We've got peppers of all different kinds that are starting to fruit, and I wanted to show you guys an update of those today. And then I'm going to take you around in the orchard area and show you guys some of the highlights. So I'm going to show you some things that are blooming, some things that are fruiting. I'm even going to take you over to the cherry tomatoes today, and I'm going to show you how we string them along a trellis, just like you would a grapevine, and show you the reason we do that and how we do that and the best methods for doing that, guys. So follow along with me today. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Say hi to Leo, everybody. Leo is head honcho of this flock. And here are a bunch of his girls. We do have some other roosters. You can see that one right there. That's Freckles, in case you've never met Freckles before. Here's one of our other roosters up here at the top. Not her. He's on the other side of her. There he is. That's Blaze. But we've got a bit of a problem here in the run. The girls are yelling at me saying we're out of food. We need more food. And they're absolutely out of food. So today we're gonna feed them, and I'm gonna bring you along. I will say one of the things that we did in the run that made life a whole lot easier is installing this automatic water. We just piped in the water from a source that we have. Say hello to Bertha, everybody. This is my little buddy. She follows me all over when I come in here. And this has made life so much easier, guys. Just being able to have fresh water consistently. I don't have to come out here and fill it up all the time. The only thing I really have to do is I come over here and I'll clean it out, because it builds up a lot of dirt and residue and stuff. And just wipe it down real good. Make sure they're getting clean water, and it fills up on its own, guys. This is a lifesaver. If you've never installed one of these and you guys are filling up stuff by hand, I definitely recommend one of these. You can get it off of Amazon. There's a few other places you can get it. You can get it at local feed stores, things like that. But this here has been amazing. It's made life a lot easier, especially in the summer and the risk of running out of water. So, and looks like we have somebody. One of our females missed the nests. Looks like they decided to lay an egg in the run, so we'll have to take care of that here in just a little while. But let's get to feeding them, guys. So this definitely makes life a lot easier. We've taken 50-gallon feed bags, and you basically grab a couple 5-gallon buckets, and 2 5-gallon buckets fit an entire feed bag, 50-gallon feed bag. 50-pound feed bag. 50-gallon, that may be crazy, but 50-pound feed bag fits into 2 buckets. It makes life a lot easier carrying it around. So, oh man, are we excited! Want some feed, girls? So now that we've got them fed and we've cleaned out their water, just wanted to show you guys kind of what's going on. So these here are their youngest ones. Last time you guys saw a video of these guys, they were just chicks. There's one there, one there, one there, all three of these ones. But they are running all over the place. And they are fully feathered out now and definitely on their way to laying eggs. And we've got several of these that are offspring of Leo mixed with a lot of our Easter eggers. And they end up producing a great olive egger. And so we've got several of those girls that are running around laying us a lot of olive eggs. And we've got a few of the black ones. So we ended up having Australorps that somehow got crossed, double crossed, I think, back into an Easter egger, because now we have Australorps that are laying blue eggs, kind of an Australorp color. Let me see if I can find one of the girls. So one of the girls, that black one right there, she lays blue eggs, bright blue eggs. So that's been interesting. It's been a lot of fun trying to figure out, you know, what color eggs they're going to lay and so on and so forth. But just thought I'd give you guys an update of the chickens. And there's another rooster that we've got. He's mostly silky and not sure we're going to keep him. We may end up selling him and finding him a new home. So we'll see how that goes. But we did get the other pen set up here for, and those are fake eggs in there. Those aren't real, but we've got a pen set up here just in case we want to do a little bit of segregated breeding, just to mix colors, and that way I can ensure that I'm getting the eggs and the colors and the breed that I want out of them. So just thought I'd give you guys a little view of the chickens today. Blaze is my favorite. Amazing colors. And you guys see this little pool set up here. This pool set up here is because we're reaching well into the hundreds now during the day. And chickens cool by their feet, guys. If you don't know that, the fastest way for a chicken to cool off is for them to be able to stand in water or stand on some sort of cold surface, and a lot of the heat comes out of their feet. And so what I do is I put a little bit of water in the bottom of this tub, clean it out every couple days, and you can see they not only drink out of it, but they will, in the heat of the day, I'll come out here and there'll be several of them standing in that water. So definitely gets messy over a couple days, but it definitely helps to keep them a little bit cooler. All right, let's go check out some peppers. All right, guys, so here is the pepper deck, and I have several varieties of peppers here. Let's see, right now we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 23 right now that are on this pepper deck. And I've probably got at least 40 more varieties to add out here. But I just wanted to show you guys what's going on. So here we've got a Tabasco, and you can see the Tabasco peppers, they are ripening. They are starting to ripen, and really looking forward to those. I'm probably going to do some fermenting with those and make a sauce. But super heavy producer. You can see here we've got the jalapeno. I've eaten a lot of jalapenos off of this thing. We've got some decent sized jalapenos, real fat on them. We've got a serrano pepper. This one needs a little bit of nitrogen. I'm going to end up having to feed this one. You can see we've got quite a bit of yellowing here on this one. And so I'm going to have to feed that one some nitrogen to keep it going. But it has been a heavy producer of these serranos. Here we've got the Chile de Arbol. And you can see that we've got some of those that are ripening. The Arbol peppers are amazing. They've got the heat of a cayenne, but they've got this amazing sweetness to them that is just way better than the cayenne. And this is the first time I've grown these and really enjoy them. This will definitely be a staple for me every single year. So You guys can see down here we've got some ghost peppers, some boot jolokia starting to ripen up. We've got several of them hanging here on the bush, and super excited about these. I love the heat of a ghost pepper, and for a long time there I used to eat them with my breakfast. I'd eat a ghost pepper with my breakfast burritos, but now I just mix them in with eggs or make tacos with them and things like that. Now Miss Markham can't handle these. These are a little too hot for her taste, but I love them. And let me see if I can get in here. This is the beauty berry, and you guys can see this beauty berry is just in full bloom right now, and we've already got berries starting to form on this thing. Beautiful, beautiful plant when they fully berry out. But habanero is still going like crazy. We've got lots of habaneros on this. It's been a heavy producer, and I can tell here just by looking at a lot of the leaves that we are needing some nitrogen, so gonna have to take care of that. But we've got a bunch of these leaf-footed bugs that keep landing on the peppers too and sucking the saps out of them, so I've really got to deal with those as well. But let me move around here and I'll show you guys some of the others. So right here's a Carolina Reaper plant, and I don't have any peppers on it yet, and the reason why I think is because of that guy right there. I am so done with these guys. I am going to feed him to the chickens. You can take one of these hornworms and throw it out there, and oh my goodness, we have a football game. Oh boy, I can't even keep up with her. And she's down in the bottom down there. Why they run back up into the group, I have no idea. Looks like they're gonna leave her alone to eat it. Here we all come out here. Oh, and she ate it. It's gone, guys. All right, well that was fun. So yeah, guys, make sure you check your peppers because they will literally eat a pepper down to nothing. And they'll do it overnight. So make sure you check your peppers and get those hornworms off of them. But Carolina Reaper here, we've got a few of them that aren't quite doing as well. I noticed that the banana peppers really do not care so much for all of the humidity. They've really struggled. In fact, the hot banana pepper, I ended up having a bunch of disease and stuff on them. Trimmed it down, and it looks like the whole thing's just going to go ahead and die off. So looks like we're going to lose that one. But we've got several other ones here. We've got Cajun Belle's been doing fairly decent. We've got a no-heat jalapeno, and you guys can see here, I mean, these no-heat jalapenos are just loaded with big jalapenos on them. But we've got several other types here. Got a poblano ancho pepper. Had a hornworm on this one, was eating it to pieces, and finally got rid of that. But we've got a shishito pepper here. Shishito is producing really well. We've got lots of them on that. We've got a what says a Fatale Gourmet pepper. I'm not so sure that's a Fatale Gourmet. It almost looks like more of a bishop's hat. But we've got some peppers on that one. We've got a few other little varieties here. Some are doing better than others. But we've got a cowhorn pepper here. Doing amazing. Lots of peppers hanging off of that one. And we've got a bishop's hat right here. So this is an actual bishop's hat, and it looks just like that other one. So I'm pretty sure that's what that other one ended up being. We've got a long, slim cayenne, which ended up being a super short cayenne. And then we've got this one over here, which is a hybrid cayenne. And this one is long. So we've got a whole bunch of those hanging on the vine. But super cool. Just wanted to show you guys an update on the peppers. We've definitely got peppers producing now. I've got a whole bunch more of them in the grow room that I have got to get out here and get them potted up on this deck, and it'll basically fill this whole deck area here. You can see we've got a few other things going. I've got a blueberry bush, and we've got some kiwi vines the golden dragon kiwi vines. And good luck finding those, guys. I actually had to pull those out of seeds off of some kiwis that I got here locally at SFA Gardens. This is a patented variety out of China called golden dragon, so I'm not even going to be able to call it golden dragon, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for that. But anyway, it is from a golden dragon kiwi, so we'll call it the I don't know, Markham dragon or something weird like that. So anyway, we've got some other stuff going here that I'm gonna have to clear out, push it off to the side. Here's some crepe myrtles, guys. I never did show you guys the update. So the last update that we did on potting up bare root crepe myrtles, guys, these are the crepe myrtles that came off of those, and you can see how well they've done. I mean, they're super bushing out. You can see some of them here are going a little bit chlorotic. You can tell it's time for me to feed them. It's definitely time for me to feed most things. We've moved into summer now, and they're pulling a lot of feed. Guys, when it heats up, and when the plants are trying to survive in that extra heat and you're having to water them a lot more, keep in mind that you're going to need to feed them a lot more. You're going to need to give them a lot more. These plants are basically, because they're trying to survive, they're chewing up a lot of fertilizer to increase their, basically making their sugars and their foods and things like that as it heats up. And the more you water, you're actually flushing nutrients from their pots, which, you know, compounds the issue. So keep in mind that when you guys start getting into the heat of the summertime, you're going to have to feed a lot more. So just keep that in mind. A while back, we ended up doing some seedlings of the desert willows, and the desert willows are doing great, guys. Time to pot these up. I'm gonna have to move them up into bigger pots, do a little bit of weeding that's coming up out of them, but these are doing amazing. They're growing really, really well, so looking forward to doing that. I've got a few cherry laurels here that we've grown, a few of these red bud that I've repotted into other pots. We've even got a little baby bald cypress here that we're growing out that we're going to end up planting on the property. So all of these will end up, most of them will be planted out on the property. Not all of these desert willows. Some of these will be up for sale, but we'll do that whenever the time comes. So let's go ahead and move out, guys. I want to show you these cherry tomatoes and show you progress that we've made on the cherry tomatoes and kind of what we're doing with them. I told you guys that we were going to string them up like grapes on a trellis, and so that is what we've done. Let me show you that real quick. So here's the trellis, guys, our cherry tomato trellis. You can see we've already begun to run them up the poles. In fact, you can see they're already up to this top pole. If you guys remember when I put this in, they were probably 1 foot to 1.5 foot high. Hadn't even reached that first pole. And now we've reached the first pole, and you can see I've taken a couple of them and just strung them along this pole. And guys, what's going to happen is, yes, they'll continue to grow out along this pole. That's what indeterminate tomatoes do, is they continue to grow and grow and grow, and they pop tomatoes out as they do. But they will also put off runners, and you can see here on the side of this, now you can see this stem has gone sideways across this whole area, across the trellis, but you can see here at where one of the leaves are, we've popped another vine that is heading straight up. And the cool part about this is, the plan is that there'll be several runners that'll come up here. They'll come up all along this stem towards the top. And then as they grow upward, I'll be able to string them to this top one. And you'll basically, what you end up with is sort of a wall of tomatoes that go all along here. And that's the whole reason that we're doing this method. You can see this plant here. We've actually taken a couple branches and bound them here and run them across and bound them here. And these are going to do the same thing and start throwing runners straight up. And so that's the whole goal, guys, is to get sort of a curtain of tomato plants across here. A lot of people will plant, you know, one plant, then they'll plant another plant, they'll plant another plant and another plant. Well, here I can get tomato plants to get big enough that I don't need to plant several of them across here. I just need to run them up to a trellis and allow them to run branches up several spots. So that'll allow me to use less tomato plants and still be able to get the same sort of production off of them. So I have got one here. Let's see, we've got a couple of them here that really need to be bent over and need to be strung along that side trellis. We've got one here that I've strung once and looks like it needs to be tied up again. And I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of these and bring you guys along. So guys, what I've got, and I've showed you this again in other videos, but what I've got here is just, it's a tie tape. This is basically just a floral type tape. It's not the paper kind, it is the plastic kind, so it is a little bit stretchy. You can grab it, you can stretch it out just a little bit. And what I use is this right here to go ahead and tie these tomatoes up. Now, I do not tie them tightly around the stems. When I'm wrapping around the stems, guys, I will wrap, but I will leave, you see how I've left some slack there in that tape, and that's how I'll tie that on that tomato. That way it doesn't choke out that tomato stem, because if I was to wrap it super tight around there and then all of a sudden this tomato stem decides to start expanding, well, you can see how it would shrink in on there and it would actually choke that tomato plant out. So you want to leave that loose around that tomato plant and give it room to grow. So I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to knock off a little piece of this. This stuff tears really, really easily. It's really easy to work with. But you can see here we've got this stem that is just going nuts. It's growing all over the place, and it tends to have a natural twist to it. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of twist it around. Now be careful, because tomatoes are brittle. They will absolutely break on you if you're not careful. But I'm going to go ahead and tie these up and see if I can get this to go along this trellis a little bit better. So again, we're leaving some slack in there, leave some growth room in there for that tomato to grow. And then we'll go ahead and tie this up here. And I'm going to put one more along here just to hold it a little more straight. Again, we'll just pull ourselves off a little piece. Whoop. Pull ourselves off a little piece. Almost turned into a big piece. And we'll push that one out here. And we'll go ahead and tie this one here. Just to keep it running sideways. And again, we're going to leave some slack there. I don't want to tie it too tight. Definitely want to leave enough room there. And you can see, guys, we've got a little bit of slack. You can move that vine around. It's not super tight on that pole. But this vine will continue to grow sideways, but it will also run up branches, new branches, as you can see right here. So this is a branch that has a terminal on the end of it that will continue to run upwards. So we've done that one. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and set you up and watch this other one here. So we've got another one here. This one may be a little bit more difficult just because it is a thicker vine. So I'm going to have to be really careful that I don't snap this one off, because this is quite a bit thicker vine and has been growing for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to slightly bend this one over. Not too quickly. If you go slow, guys, the branch will slowly give way without snapping. If I was to take this branch and just bend it over real quick, chances are that this branch is going to snap right here in this area. So now I've got it kind of bent over here a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it and tie it to our trellis here. And this is very similar to the way that you run grapes. The way that you run trellised grapes, you run them along and they will do the same thing. They'll throw off the little side shoots. You'll cut those each year, and then those will produce grapes that hang down off of your trellis. And we'll go ahead and run one more tie into this one as it's running down this line. You can see we've got a whole bunch of flowers here. It is going to try to produce for us still. Now, a lot of people are running into a situation right now, because we're up into the hundreds on our temperature, where their tomatoes have stopped producing. And a big part of that is a lot of people don't understand that if you don't use mulch, that the root zone on your plants will get really, really hot. But as you guys can probably see, I use a lot of mulch everywhere. I mean, you can see the mulch that's over there in that bed. If I point you down here, you can actually see the mulch that these tomatoes are planted in. And this mulch right here, guys, when the sun is out here and it's 100 and something degrees, it is 20 degrees cooler underneath that mulch than it is above the mulch. And a lot of the temperature, the ability for the plant to regulate temperature, is controlled by their soil and the water that they're pulling. So if the water in the soil that their roots are in is 20 degrees cooler, that is cooler temps of water that they can push up into those vines, and these tomatoes will produce longer. And so what I have found is, although the tomatoes in 100 and something degree weather, although they will stop producing as much, I still get a lot of production on my tomatoes. I get a lot of production even once we get up into the hundreds. You guys can see when you're up into the hundreds, usually your flowers would fall off. And that's everybody's concern, is because 95 above, really the flowers begin to fall off. The pollen is no longer viable in those kind of temperatures. But I found that when using mulch and being able to cool the ground a little bit better, I get a lot of production still, guys. We're up in the hundreds during the day, and look at this. I've got flowers still on there. I've got tomatoes that are setting. I'm still producing. And last year we produced all the way through summer, and we were cranking up around 110, 115 degrees here, and I was still getting cherry tomatoes. So just something to keep in mind, guys. If you're wanting cherry tomatoes in the long haul for the entire summer, guys, plant with mulch. And I've talked about this in many different videos, the importance of this mulch. But you know, here in this particular bed, you can see I've got leaves. I've just got leaves like crazy. We've got oak trees and all sorts of things planted here. But you can see as I pull this back, look at the soil down in here, guys. This is what my tomatoes are growing in now, is this kind of black soil. And that's all made from leaves and mulch and things like that in this area. So that's the benefit of mulch. And so if you're not growing with mulch, guys, you're missing out. Summertime, you'll get a lot more production, and you'll get a lot more production all throughout the year if you are using mulch. So anyway, enough about that. Let me go ahead and get these other two strung up, and I'll get right back to you guys. So you guys can see with just a little bit of time, you know, we've gone ahead and I've tied some of these up onto this main stake. You can see we've even got some up here that are starting to take off sideways. And then I'll end up trellising them across the tomato trellis as they get that high. But you can see just with a little bit of time, now we've got some of these that are staked sideways or running sideways on these. And now we're going to get a lot more production, guys. Instead of all of the production going into these ones that are at the top, we'll actually get production that comes off of the sides and then up off of these side shoots that you can see start to grow up on these. So that you can see this is a side shoot right here. This one is not one of the main stalks. It's just one of the what they call suckers. But when you grow them like this, guys, you can take advantage of the suckers and utilize those along this entire area here. They're not shaded out, which means they will produce well. And then once I've got all of them at the top, guys, we'll start running all along the top of this trellis. So But hopefully this helps you guys. Guys, get to using mulch. I'm telling you, it's a major difference. You know, I haven't had to feed these much because basically the mulch and the worms eating all this stuff leaves vermicompost. There's a lot of nutrients, there's a lot of food and things like that that these tomatoes can eat. And so, you know, use mulch. I mean, I just can't say it enough. But anyway, I'm going to shut up on the mulch thing. I think I've basically ground it into your heads a little bit. But anyway, guys, go with me around the garden. I want to show you guys some of the cool stuff that we've got going around the garden, some of the stuff that's making me happy today, and some of the blooming things and stuff. So here's one of our butterfly bushes that we've planted, and you can see we've got some blooms going. These things are so gorgeous, and we have constant supply of butterflies coming in all day long on these. And but just beautiful, beautiful flowers, just panicles of them. And as this gets a lot bigger, and this bush gets a lot bigger, guys, and this is 1 year growth, because I planted this in spring, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe 6-8 inches tall. Really tiny bush, and now look at this thing in one season. So but doing absolutely amazing. I can show you guys over here, we've got one of our altheas. This is the first althea that I ever planted, and it's so cool because now we've got some little buds on it that are starting to form flowers, and we've even got a few blooms. Now this one has started to close up already, but you can see that red that's in there. I mean, they're just beautiful blooms on these. But we've got about 4 of these on the property, and this is the first one to start blooming. Now you guys can see our orchard is doing amazing. I mean, the growth on some of these just in this year. I mean, look at this Santa Rosa plum. I'm looking up at it now. I mean, we're looking at the under canopy of this tree now, but it is growing so fast. And I love, we actually took a whole bunch of flower seeds and threw them out here, and now we've got these black-eyed Susan coming up all over the place out here. We've just got black-eyed Susan all through the orchard here. Next to our persimmon. Persimmon's doing really, really well. This is the Fuji. Miss Markham likes the ones that she can eat that are not mushy. She likes the ones that are crunchy and sweet at the same time. But black-eyed Susan here, and then we've got some other flowers that are coming up. Just beautiful, beautiful flowers coming up all over within the orchard. Got these. We've got some of the cosmos. Guys, we even have an avocado tree, which that won't survive the winter, but we throw our avocado pits out here, and we've got avocados even coming up out of the ground. But we've even got some cosmos out here. You guys can see the cosmos flowers. Those are growing up too. Got several other locations of flowers coming up in different places. Underneath our Sam Houston peach here. You can see we've got some more of these flowers coming out. Some more cosmos. They just get so heavy the whole plant falls over. But even out here, we've got some zinnias. So we've got zinnias there. We've got zinnias here. Got another zinnia here. So we've got zinnias that are coming up in all of these spots that we'd planted castor. Now a bunch of these spots, the castors didn't take off. So this one here, you can see where a zinnia has done well. We've got butterflies hanging on to them. Got little moths and things. Here's the castor that grew in this location, and it's just not doing quite as well, but the zinnia is loving it. And we've got another little castor here. You can see the castor's not doing extremely well, but again, zinnia doing amazing. Another bright zinnia over here. Castor's doing a little bit better over here, but another zinnia. But we've got this old stump here, and it is absolutely covered right now in morning glory, and you can see just the amount of blooms that we have of this morning glory. Now keep in mind, guys, around here in southeast Texas, it is super invasive. So we are humid enough, we get enough rainfall that this stuff will just take off. I mean, you can see it's growing up into my yopon tree. and I'll have to end up weaving all of that stuff out of the tree later on. But it is absolutely beautiful the way that it grows though. And these flowers are just gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful flowers. But I also want to show you guys our New Zealand red caster. And this one is beautiful and is growing much faster than the giant Zanzibar. But has some grass and stuff on them. But isn't the color amazing? Look at that red color coming out of these leaves. And not only the red color out of the leaves, but if you look at the stems, I mean, the stems are this beautiful red color. Just gorgeous. And then we've got a giant Zanzibar that's doing really well over here. This one's quite a bit bigger. And we've got one at the front of the property that I'll show you that's doing really well also. So, love these casters, guys. Now keep in mind that these casters are poisonous. They do contain ricin, a poison in them. But if you want to create a microclimate, you want to create some shade, you want to create an area where you can grow some things, some flowers up underneath them, guys, these are amazing. They grow so fast. They have these huge leaves on them. They're just absolutely beautiful. And if you really want some color, guys, you can do the New Zealand red, or you can also do a purple. There's a purple one that you can grow as well that is really, really pretty. But man, I just can't believe the red that's coming out in that. Just gorgeous. Almost as bright as flowers. But love that plant. So the bananas are doing amazing, guys. They're definitely growing. We've got some pups coming up around them. And super excited about those. I can go ahead and spread them out in this area and get the banana part of the orchard a lot thicker. But you can see these are already towering over my head. Last year these topped out at probably 15, 16 feet. This year I'm expecting that they will get even taller because we are already to the point where they are towering well over my head and just doing absolutely amazing. We've got several pups coming off of these as well. Now, if you don't know about it, guys, bananas, they will grow their main stalk. Bananas are part of grass. So if you know anything about grass, grass puts off little runners out the side of the main plant, comes up next to it in other little plants of grass as well. Well, bananas are a grass. And so what happens is these main bananas down here, you follow the stalk down, and then off of the roots, they will throw off what we call pups. And this is just a little banana plant. And once this plant gets a little bit bigger, I'm going to come in and I'll separate it from the root system, and it'll have its own little tiny root system. And then you can take that plant and you can plant that to another location and have a banana in another spot as well. But you can see we've got several pups coming off of these. But super, super excited about the bananas this year. You can see over here we've got another patch of them coming up. It's super thick in here. And with one of these banana plants that I was gifted, and you can see it is back in there, it is just covered in these elephant ear. This elephant ear decided to take off last year, started growing pretty heavily, and so you know it has gotten super, super thick in here. And I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go ahead and let a bunch of it grow. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It definitely adds to keeping the moisture back in here. And it's definitely more of a jungle back in here in this area. But you can see here on the ground, I don't know if you can see this. Well, of course you can. This ground cover that we've got going here. Guys, this is called stonebreaker and called chamber bitters. And any of you that are dealing with kidney stones, if you will take some of this stuff, all you do is take the greens off of it, dry it out, crush it up, and make a tea out of it and drink that twice, 2 to 3 times a day. And I'm telling you, it will dissolve your kidney stones. And if it doesn't dissolve them because they're too big, it'll definitely prevent you from getting more of them. And I have dealt with kidney stones, maybe TMI, but my entire life. And ever since I started drinking this stuff, I have had very few kidney stones since. So definitely a benefit to that. But this just grows up wild all over the place. We've got it just as a ground cover out here. And just beautiful in the way that it grows, just the super ferny look to it. But that is chamber bitters, also called stonebreaker. So on the corner of this post here, I planted some air potato. And if you've never heard of air potato, guys, it's a vine that grows potatoes. This particular one is edible, so you can eat the potatoes that come off of it. But what happens is it's a vine that comes out of the ground, and off of the side of these vines will grow potatoes that are, I mean, they're a good size. They're probably the size of a baseball, and you can actually eat those. But this vine, let me back up here so you can see, has gone all the way up the post that I put, and then has continued wrapping itself around the post towards the top, and is continuing to grow. And just absolutely beautiful vine. Even if you don't eat them, that is a gorgeous vine. Look at the shape of those leaves, just beautiful. And it looks like we may have a little pest going here. These guys will eat up my leaves real bad, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of those. I just give them a little flick, just give them just a little bit of a flick, and just hitting their hair like that makes them want to fall off. All right, that's clear now. And over here we've got a passion vine. So I planted a passion vine down here at the bottom, and this thing has started growing up, sends out these tendrils. You can see the tendrils that come off of it. The tendrils grab a hold of things around them and hold on. And you can see that they've wrapped themselves around this pole to hold on to it. But it has also grown up here and has started going all the way to the top. But you can see we're about to start getting some blooms here. And if you've never seen passion flower blooms, guys, I will put a picture right here of what a passion flower bloom looks like. But these grow in a vine. They grow really, really well here. We even grew passion vine when we were in Phoenix, Arizona. At 120 degrees plus in the summertime, we still had passion vines going. So passion vine is definitely one of those that you can grow almost anywhere. So love these. Watermelon vines are taking off, guys. We've got watermelons starting to grow. I'll show you guys the other ones on the other side of the property here in just a moment. Wanted to come out here and show you guys the other colors of the morning glory. So we've got a few other varieties, some other colors that have started popping out. Other than those pink that were over there, we've also got these blue. And just absolutely beautiful vines. And like I said, they can be invasive, but we're letting them grow along the fence just because of the color. Just, we love the colors that come off of them. So it's really pretty. Wanted to show you guys Miss Markham's zinnias. So we planted some zinnias this year, just a little bed of them here, and just look at all the different colors. Sorry about the wind, it makes it a little bit more difficult to look at them, but just so many colors. Guys, if you've never grown zinnias, grow you some zinnias. They are beautiful. There are so many varieties and colors. I mean, yellows, and then you got white in the center of the yellows, and then just beautiful pinks and almost bright safety orange and almost a fire orange. Just beautiful. Zinnias are amazing. If you've never grown them, grow you some zinnias, guys. They're beautiful. We've got all of these sand spider lilies growing up here in front of our house as well. And you can see it is now putting off its first set of blooms. And you can see why they call it a spider lily. It's got all of these legs out here. These are actually my grandmother's favorite She told me these were her favorite flowers that she ever saw in Hawaii. And so we've actually got them growing here in southeast Texas, and just beautiful, beautiful flowers. You guys watched in a previous video of me planting this little miniature rose, and you can see we finally got quite a few blooms on it, and they are mini little roses. Apparently it is a double knockout roses, but they are definitely tiny little roses. And then we've got another one of those New Zealand reds here planted. Not doing quite as well as the other one, but definitely doing decent. And then I planted a couple other types of myrtles. So here's a crepe myrtle out of that video that I showed you guys of the first video of planting up the crepe myrtles. And then here is another common myrtle that is just blooming like crazy and just absolutely beautiful as well. So planted one here, one variety, and then there's another variety. So over here you can see the white blooms on that. We've got the double knockout rose going crazy. Oh, and let me show you guys what ended up happening in this. So I planted this double knockout rose, and I guess somehow I ended up getting some seeds of a Malabar spinach in there. Because as you can see, now there's this Malabar spinach vine that is growing up at the base of these roses and has started growing up through the roses and weaving and vining onto it. And this is super edible, guys. This is a superfood. The Malabar spinach, every bit of it can be eaten, from the stems to the trunks to the seeds, everything. Super beneficial to grow, but definitely didn't mean to grow it in with the roses. So apparently the soil that I used must have had a seed from one of my Malabar spinach in it, because now we've got a Malabar rose. So anyway, kind of interesting. Here's that other variety of that common crepe myrtle that I planted. You can see it's got sort of the same flowers, but definitely a little bit more glossy foliage, a little bit more pinnate leaved. But here's the other one of our giant Zanzibar, and the wind's blowing like crazy, so we'll see how it goes. But I mean, you guys can see here, let me show you how big the leaves are starting to get big, guys. But the leaves get huge like this, and these will grow, you know, 20-25 feet high here before we hit winter. So they will give quite a bit of shade in this area. But I mean, you can see the red maple doing amazing. We've got the sweet shrubs. Look how well the sweet shrubs are doing. They were little sticks last time I showed you. We've even got the Jane magnolia growing up here. And even though we're hitting 100 and something degrees, guys, I used mulch, and look, it is still blooming. This thing is still blooming. But thick mulch, that's what it'll do for you guys. We've even got our Turk's cap. So I did a video on this, a little short, about Turk's cap back. Excuse the wind, guys. We must have a little front coming through. But this one is the one that I thought we fully lost. I thought the thing was dead. And now we're here into the summertime, and this thing is half the size of me. So we're like 3.5 feet tall now. And looky here. We have our first Turk's cap blooms, and such an unusual bloom, how they spiral like this. But they don't open up. So this flower will not open up. It literally, that's all it does right there. And these are edible, guys. These blooms are 100% edible. They also make a berry that is edible as well. And if you've never seen that, I'll put that up in the corner of the screen. But it looks like a little apple is what the berries look like. But we've got one there, another one there, just super bright flowers on them. Loving this plant, and so glad that this survived. Here's one of our other butterfly bushes. You can see the butterfly bush doing amazing. We've even got some mushrooms coming up this year, some different kinds. But you can see out here across the property, we've got a Violet de Bordeaux fig planted in the ground here. We've got our Jan's Best mulberry growing, doing really well out here. You can see how big it's gotten. We've got the Oz Turk, or the Siam Jumbo mulberry, doing really well out here also. I mean, there's just, this stuff is doing awesome out here. We've spread the mulch out, but let me show you guys. I promised you I'd show you watermelons. Look at this watermelon vine. This comes off of this center portion here, and it's just going nuts. And these are just getting started. I mean, just getting started. This one here barely even has a few blooms on it. It's just begun. But we will get watermelons out of this one this year. And this is going to be second generation. So I actually harvested watermelons last year. Everybody in this area ate the watermelons and said they were the best watermelons they'd ever had. I unfortunately cannot eat watermelon. It's high in tyramine, and I've seemed to have developed a high, tyramine intolerance, but everybody else can eat them, and so that's really all I'm concerned about. I can grow them really well, especially with all the mulch. But you see just beautiful vines doing amazing. We've got another spot over here where you can see the vines over there in that corner also growing, and then we've got another spot right over here where the watermelon is taking over. I mean, just starting to grow really thick. So awesome. So looking forward to the watermelon and getting that. But guys, everything's growing really, really well. I'm not going to keep showing you around. I mean, this video is already going to start getting pretty long. But you know, the pecan tree, the tallow trees, the chestnut trees. I mean, it is doing amazing out here. Just, we've got stuff growing like crazy. Our magnolia snapped off in the wind, but check that out. It is growing some new growths out of it there. So happy about that. But anyway, guys, I could show you guys around forever. I could just walk around, show you plants. I love to look at plants. I love looking at all the little, you know, the little nuances of them, the little new growths and the flowers and the way they grow and some of the bugs that inhabit them and things like that. I think some of that is so cool. But I could probably do that for hours, but I don't want to, you know, keep you guys here and basically you stop watching the channel because the videos are so long. But anyway, glad you guys could come along today. I hope you enjoyed the gardens. I hope you enjoyed what I showed you. Hopefully you enjoyed looking at all the different tomatoes and how we trellis them across. Just as I leave you guys, if you would subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, if you hit that subscribe button, if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified of all of the videos that are coming up. If you have somebody out there that needs help with the tomatoes or really likes the idea of the tomato trellis, or would like to see some of this stuff that I showed you today in the garden, or likes chickens or any of the stuff that you've seen today, guys, if you would share this video, get the information out there to people, go ahead and feel free to share. If you'd hit that like button for me, guys, it helps the channel, helps get the word out there, lets YouTube know that we're something that people like to watch. And if you would hit that like button for me. But as we go out, I just want to show you guys real quick the mulberry tree that started about 6 inches and was a cutting from one we brought from Phoenix, Arizona. And then I'm going to pan across the cherry tomatoes that are back here by the chickens that I did a video on here a while back of planting all of those, and I'm just going to give you an update of those too. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. Appreciate having you. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Talk to you later. Love you. Shalom under the dome.